open discussion. This will apply more so with the three of us than you, Stephen, because this concerns the WWE.
Ah.
The open
Oh
topic
no.
is the WWE Brand Split. Do we really need it now? And I'm not going to go in with like an over prepared statement, but we have New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have Impact Wrestling. Alright, it's not in the same presence as AEW, WWE, or New Japan Pro Wrestling, but from what I've been hearing, it's a lot more well structured and well managed compared to what it was, say, around 2013, 2014, when they made the mistake of going on the road and they found out it cost 600 grand to do the tapings per episode. They should have stayed in the Universal Center in Florida, just saying. But you have all these other promotions, and you still have WWE split into Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Now, for context, for those who may be not in the know, this is not the first time the WWE has done a draft split or a brand split, brand extension, whatever the term you choose to affiliate with it. They did this originally back in 2002 because WCW and ECW were gone. Both of them were acquired by WWE, and it was seen as a means of trying to have some form of competition, so they were competing with themselves. But since the rise of all these other promotions, because I think this is one of the reasons why they did away with the brand split in 2011, it's just like, well, we have these other promotions here. Do we really need to have this brand split in? And I kind of see why they did it again in 2016. But again, you have AEW, which is probably at this moment in time on American soil is almost on par with WWE. Almost. They've still got... AEW's not perfect. It has its own things to iron out. And there's a lot of people going over to New Japan Pro Wrestling again, and I don't know the situation with Ring of Honor, so I'm not even going to comment on that one. But
It recently came back. They're about the taping. So.
okay. So, even though you have interesting and unique situations on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, although I still maintain to this point, when they did the brand split this time, why could they have not just done a similar principle to what they did in 2002, where at the time the WWF Women's Champion and the WWF Undisputed Champion were exclusive to both brands? And I preferred that way of doing it, where, because at the time Triple H was the Undisputed Champion, and then a month later he loses it to Hulk Hogan, which Oni was probably head desking at the time, going, no, 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 no. But then, late August, early September of that same year, Lesnar gets drafted to SmackDown just to become exclusive property. And it wasn't because of the story that Steph paid Brock a lot of money. No. Triple H was politicking backstage and said, I don't want to play second fiddle to Lesnar. And then years later we find out why. So that's when we had the World Heavyweight title brought in. Now, in terms of the Rumble at the time, around 04, because to be fair, the rules of the Royal Rumble for 2004 had stated that the winner faces the champion, but the rules do not state which champion that winner will face. Those rules were in place in 2003, they just didn't advertise it. So, at this point in time, looking at it objectively, some near 7 years on, is it time for the brand split to go away again, or do we keep it in place for a few more years and then do away with it again as they did in 2011. And Raiden, I put that question to you.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. Yes, mainly because it's at the point where you gotta just. I mean, I don't like the situation with the undisputed belt and all that, but I don't know. It's at the point you gotta do that with the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. It's just like do away with it. I mean, I like for the worst, I like your idea with that idea of the undisputed title and the Women's Championship being exclusive to both brands. I'd say you do the same thing for the tag belt.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
just have them just be both brands because Raw and SmackDown have so many tag teams, but you just use it for for a single brand. I don't know, man. For me, I just did not like that. I mean, I didn't mind that during like '03 to '06, I think, '07, whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's at a point like you have too many people holding too many belts, and it's like you have to just like differentiate and just have just unified belts. I mean, you can have, like I said, for me, my ideal thing is WWE title / world title. Okay, in a sense, you can do that. You still do that with Raw and SmackDown, whatever. But with the women's title, you can have that as both with both brands. Same goes for the tag belt. Same goes for hypothetically they bring back the cruiserweight title. Have that for both for all brands. But for the IC title and US title, I just say keep them both exclusive to the brands.
Yeah.
Because you have different people fighting for that. That's cool. But I don't know. It's like for me, it's at time to do away the Raw Women's Championship, SmackDown Women's Championship, Raw Tag Team, SmackDown Women's Tag Team. You get the gist.
Yeah.
It's at the point where you have to unify those type of belts in order for it to be more healthy, because it's at the point where you have for like, for example, the Raw side of women's division is great. SmackDown side, however, has suffered.
Yeah.
So that's the point where you have to unify those type of belts in order for more better competition, because you no matter how good was, like, the Ruthless Aggression era, the Raw side suffered because of Hunter's politics.
Yeah.
That reign of terror from '03
Oh,
to
don't.
'05 was unbearable. But when you have the SmackDown side, the WWE title scene was more sports oriented. It was more competitive, especially when you had guys like Lesnar, Angle, Benoit, Guerrero, Mysterio, etc., etc. You had those type of divisions where the competition was just great, and SmackDown was very acclaimed for that. For Raw, it was like same shit, different day. And no matter how many times someone dethrones Hunter, like from Shawn Michaels, Goldberg, you always find a way to get that belt back.
Yeah.
So thank God for '05 for Batista. He was able to wrestle the title away, and then the world title was a little bit more handled.
Yep.
So I close this. I feel like you definitely still need the brand split, because it's at the point where, like I said before, you have too many cooks in the kitchen with loaded talent, and you just keep it, and you're just holding them back with just do nothing championship matches that won't even matter. You know what I mean? It's at the point where you gotta have structure, and I see that happening, hopefully. And you guys already know I am very cold on Hunter in this booking, but I feel like he would have that idea of like, enough of the Raw SmackDown title, enough of the Raw Women's title, enough of the Raw SmackDown tag, Raw tag, just unify everything so the competition will be healthy. So I say yes, keep the brand split in place, and do not get rid of it. Because if you get rid of it, it's gonna cause a lot of chaos. Like when a certain father-in-law has screwed over the company so many times with his scatterbrained mind. So, yeah,
Hmm.
and that's how I feel about this whole situation.
Yeah, old Vinny's slowly becoming one of those people like how Rachel Wise uh, read the inscription of Imhotep as "He who shall not be named."
Mm. Also, I need to answer this question for
Hmm.
offenders. Anyone tell me what's the point of having Jeff Jarrett in AEW? Well, okay. There was
Uh-oh.
a time that I couldn't. No, don't worry, it's all good, it's all good. There was a time that he was just like Triple H and TNA when he lobbied himself as the NWO World Heavyweight Champion. But for me, at this point, I think he's helping AEW, especially with live shows, deals, and all of that. And also his character work, especially with Lethal, Satnam, and Sanjay Dutt. I think it's pretty entertaining. I'll admit, when I first saw him on TV making his debut, I can't lie to you. I had PTSD because especially hearing this theme. The theme's awesome, by the way, but it was a time that I was a little scared. But like I said, I feel like he's doing a really great job that he tried to do in WWE, but fortunately he got released. So he's sprinkling the same magic that he tried to do with WWE with AEW, and I feel like it's going well. I mean, what I've heard, AEW getting their first ever live show stuff. House shows. So house shows in company terms makes a lot of money, and it keeps people wanting more. So to answer your question, the point of having Jeff Jarrett in AEW is the same thing he tried to do with WWE, except he's doing it much better in AEW. Is that
More freedom to do as he feels, basically.
basically? Yeah.
All right. Um, Madam Quest. Madam Question. Keep in mind, folks, I'm half awake. Madam President, the same original question to you. Given the choice of rival promotions to WWE, does the brand split, is it still needed in this day and age now?
Well, I'm of mixed feelings about that. On one hand, with these people who are holding on to belts forever, Roman, sorry, I'm sorry, I have a bit of a sore throat there. I still have issues with the whole him holding onto the belt for almost 1,000 days, which is getting a little frustrating, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You too.
But yeah, just on the one hand, I feel like the brand split should exist because again have cohesive different storylines there. But the problem is I feel like SmackDown's suffering because of a certain other politicking superstar, Ronda Rousey. Sorry, again, I have that very sore throat. I'm sorry about that.
It happens.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have my issues, several issues with Ronda Rousey, but again, one of the least at the bottom of the list, thinking that she's a better competitor than certain individuals. Like, like to call out the current women's tag champions Dakota Kai and Io Sky, where it's like, you know what? You don't have as much talent on your little pinky than you have, and they have in their entire body. So fuck off. All right, shut up. But that out of the way. It's just I feel like the brand split should exist in a way to have like cohesiveness, so that you can tell that these are two different shows. Because again, you have two different mixes of talent. But again, I do agree that like some of the talent in SmackDown does tend to suffer, especially the poor women's division. I feel bad for the women of SmackDown that like. I'm of mixed feelings about Charlotte being champion again, but at least it's better than Ronda Rousey. I will say that. Just and the Raw side of things, it has like powerhouse. It has Becky Lynch, it has Bianca Belair, who I lovingly am now calling Wonders Bianca because she's got a little bit of Super Cena tendencies, if you get what I'm saying. And
Yeah, true. Yeah.
yeah,
What's
I
the
like
number?
Bianca, but just like yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And also like let's the individuals that are a part of Damage Control. They have Rhea freaking Ripley, who again I feel like they're probably gonna move her to SmackDown considering the fact that she's going after Charlotte's title. But that's neither here nor there. Whether she wins or lose, I'm okay with that. On the other hand, on the SmackDown side, you have like these other talents. They have like that are severely underused. Like they have Shotzi Blackheart, they have Tegan Knox, Emma, who again everybody forgets that she came back, don't they?
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel bad too. It's just like, hey, it's like I feel like they either probably need to do a draft where they need to shake things up a bit, or they're gonna have a serious problem there.
And
But again, I feel like they do need to do away with these unified titles and just like have these people jump from like there from the here to there like certain individuals have been doing lately. Everybody makes the joke of the brand split. What's that? And it's like again, I feel like I have to agree with that assessment. It's like you I don't want them to fully do away with the brand split, but just like have champions from one go to another just to compete. Like, shake things up a little bit. If you want to keep storylines from there, that's fine too. But just a little bit of like flavor is Eddie's the spice of life. So give it that at least. I'm just hoping that like Cody takes the belt off Roman, or at least they split them off or do something with them because I am really, really sick and tired of Roman Reigns as the undisputed Universal Champion. I'm sorry. I thought Sammy should have won at Elimination Chamber, but again, I'm in the majority of that. Yeah, but again, like Sammy will find a way to make it to WrestleMania, whether he's in the main event or if he's with Kevin Owens to take the belt off the Usos. Please take the belt off the Usos, please. Give some variety. I'm kind of getting sick of the same thing where it's like interference. Oh no, ref bump. Oh, someone's involved. Blah blah blah. 1, 2, 3. Member of the bloodline here wins. I want some variety. That's all I want. I just want something. Come on, give me something I can work with here.
yeah, I do agree.
But yeah.
Oh, go.
Mm-hmm.
No, finish up.
No,
That's my bad.
Right. All in all, I think there are merits to keeping the brand split, but there are also there merits of like either just merging the brands together. I understand the splitting of like cohesion for cohesion's sake, but shake things up a little bit, or otherwise, just do away with it.
I do agree with the consensus of they need to consolidate some of the championships. I mean, with the Intercontinental and the United States title, keep them. You need at least 2 mid-tier belts for people to fight for, because a lot of discussion was going around at the time in 2013, 2014. In order to make the competition stiffer, let's unify the United States and the Intercontinental Championship and just have one mid-tier belt. Now, on the one hand, it does make people step their game up, but it also limits the amount of opportunities that some wrestlers could have. I mean, if we go back to this time in 2002, you had the hardcore title. You had the lightweight. Well, you didn't have the lightweight and the lightweight and the cruiserweight belt, because the light heavyweight belt kind of quietly disappeared.
Actually, and I don't. Okay. All right, a little tangent. I don't like when nerds do that. Well, actually, okay, but I'm trying to pull who, but anyway, okay. To answer your question about the light heavyweight belt, that actually got unified at SummerSlam 2001, where X-Pac beat Tajiri
Oh,
for the WCW. I think he was the WWF light heavyweight champion, while I think Tajiri was the cruiserweight champion.
yeah, that is actually true.
So X-Pac beat him, and he unified the belt.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a unification match. Okay, my bad.
It's all good. No. I was good to help out.
Yep. So, at that time, hardcore, cruiserweight, women's, tag titles, European, Intercontinental, and the undisputed WWF Championship. You have your top tier belt, you have your your secondary, and then you have your tertiary championships in the European and the hardcore. I understood to a point unifying the European with the Intercontinental Championship because in one of the plates, Europe is part of the Intercontinental division, so it's like, okay, that makes sense. Then when they unified the hardcore with the IC belt, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Why? Okay. But, and this is the biggest mistake they made, is when they unified the IC title with the World Heavyweight belt, because the original
I was about to mention that, yeah, because we all know Vince was like, never gave a shit about the IC belt over the years, and and that didn't came back until like Judgment Day 03.
Yeah.
And they brought it back, and then in order to compete, Stephanie McMahon, who was general manager at the time, brought in the U.S. belt.
Yep.
And they were going with that, and then now that turned out in a good way.
Yep. When you take away certain belts, it, like I say, it limits the opportunities some wrestlers can have. And I say wrestlers, not superstars. Vinny, they are wrestlers, not sports entertainment. Just saying. I agree that the Raw and SmackDown tag team titles should be unified and just do what they did from WrestleMania 25 in 2009 onwards, where the tag titles become exclusive to both brands, and do the same for the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. Unify them so it's just the women's championship, because I'm gonna be honest, I feel it's a little bit unimaginative, for want of a better description, to say the Raw Women's Champion and the SmackDown Women's Champion and the Raw Tag Team titles and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, when it was the WWE Tag Team Champions and then the World Tag Team Champions. If one of them got drafted to one show or the other, you wouldn't have them to swap the titles, which I looked at that and I'm like, this is lame.
That was so dumb. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, they did the same thing. They did the same thing for the women's belt too, and
yeah,
caused a lot of controversy backstage.
I mean, I get that you cannot have a Raw women's belt defended on SmackDown because then it looks weird. But at least when there was the women's and the Divas championship belts, as much as we curse the Divas championship belt from here to the point of no existence, at least if the two switch the shows, you wouldn't have the champions having to swap the belts with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing. If they create brand exclusive belts in the future, do not have the brand name in the titles. Just say, for the sake of discussion, first time ever, we have the Women's United States Championship belt. Let's say, for argument's sake. You don't call it the Raw Women's US title. It's just like, no, it's just the Women's US title. Or if we create an exclusive women's belt that's just for SmackDown, Raw has the women's, but then SmackDown has, say, the Ladies Championship, or for just.
I got a better one.
Okay.
The WWE Valkyrie Championship.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I can rock that.
Okay, now I'm picturing the Valkyrie Queen from God of War playing the WWE. That scares me.
Or from Thor.
Oh, that too. That too.
So, yeah, just have something different. And this is one of the very few times I will agree with the A-Log. When it comes to Survivor Series situations, can we do away with team names being, say, Team Cena, Team Authority? Come up with something original. Because, I mean, around, I think it was Survivor Series 2013, why don't you have Mick Foley's team, which happened to have The Miz in there? It's like, why don't you have their team called the Misfits, and Ziggler's team are referred to as the Show-Offs instead of Team Ziggler and Team Foley? Because the whole point.
You know what?
Nice.
They kind of did that for Survivor Series way back in the day. Like I think it was called HBK's Nights or whatever, and yeah, the King's Court, blah blah blah. They had those gimmick names back then, but that was when it was like, I think it was like the new generation era
Oh
back then.
dear.
So, yeah, but as a lot of shit we gave them, at least they were unique names.
Yes.
And all that.
Yes. I mean, I said something to the effect of, for it might be Survivor Series 2016 or 2017, instead of Team Raw for the women's Survivor Series name, what about the Raw Amazons, and and something like for SmackDown, I think I may have said something like the SmackDown Soldiers. Something that's because when you say team, insert name here, it feels too corporate. I mean, and also what people, and I'm sorry for doing this once more, Madam President, but when you bring team insert name here, it's almost like, I'm on Team Edward, I'm on Team Jacob. No, we're not.
No, we're not talking about that.
Because
Again, it's just, I agree with you on that.
I mean,
Also, yeah, off topic. Oh wait, not. Since we're talking about like unique stuff, for the love of God, change the fucking designs on the titles. Oh
Thank you.
Lord!
Thank
Ever
you.
since 2013, when before WrestleMania 29, when Brock and Cena were gonna go at it, he finally did something great and changed the spinner design. Listen, the spinner was good for its time, but that was only for Cena. Tell me why they kept using that design for Triple H, Sheamus, Randy Orton. Wow, it just didn't look right. But but he changed the design, and honestly, it didn't look too bad. It just had the WWE title design. It looked okay.
it was an improvement.
Tell me why. Yeah, yeah. Tell me why I kept seeing that same design since Lesnar destroyed Cena at SummerSlam 2014. And we got that design, and we get that for the women's side. Well, okay. Well, first off, SummerSlam 2016 when the brand split happened, where Mick Foley and Stephanie revealed the Universal title. That shit got booed.
It was lazy.
Booed in the building.
It was basically a recolor.
And then mid-2020, and we're going to the mid-card titles. Okay. There was a time I did not like how the United States belt looked, but I've gotten used to it. It was cool, especially with when the side plates got transferred, for the wrestlers' logos and all that. I still miss the nameplate design.
Yeah, I feel like nameplates are better. That's just me, though.
Yeah, but tell me why that beautiful IC title that Cody Rhodes, showed up. I know MJ, you were a fan of the original oval design, but a part of me liked the classic IC belt with the white strap. I don't know why. It just looked cool. It just looked regal. It looked clean to me. I still love that. But tell me why that title belt got changed. Okay, the belt doesn't look too bad, but what it needed was color. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it how it went. at least with that, the IC title, the US title got changed. That's cool. But tell me why I gotta see the same old designs. Like Universal belt got when the Fiend won it, it got turned to what the WWE title was. Except it had a blue design. You just see it way too much. Like
I know.
It's at the point like you just gotta think, okay, after WrestleMania the designs got to be changed. Pronto, also some ugly ass tag titles. I never liked those turned to penny belts and then it turned to silver belts. It's just it's at the point where you gotta do something with those belts. And I know for a fact if Cody wins it, I know how, he's very old school. He'll do something different with the belt like he did with
I hope so.
For me, I just want better designs because these designs ain't it. Hell, look at NXT UK. As much as I shit on it, at least the UK belt and the tag belt look amazing. Yep. And after NXT last year, they got rid of the belt, especially that beautiful UK design. Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know.
I just want the belts look like belts again, like back in the day.
I mean,
like the beautiful winged eagle belt from the mid '90s, from the giant eagle belt to one of my personal all-time favorite WWE title designs with the undisputed belt.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Like for me, that stays being my favorite world title belt. So,
yeah.
I just want variety with the belts. I don't want the same old thing.
Oh no, I completely agree, and also, we're jumping back to probably the peak of the original brand split. At least when you would look at Raw and SmackDown, and of course it would vary at times whichever where the world title would be. At least when you looked at the WWE title and then the World Heavyweight Championship, there were contrasting differences. Whereas, as you say, with the WWE title and the Universal title, it's night and day. Or it's basically, alright. Let's say, for the sake of discussion, Madam President and Mr. Rikaku both have Ford Mustangs. Lids has a beautiful 2005 scarlet red Ford Mustang, and Oni has a black with silver trim around the sides 05 Mustang. It's just like, what he could have done is just say Lids has the classic 05, but Oni's got like the classic 67 Cobra in silver, like Eleanor. But it's just right insane. There's no individuality. It's just copy paste. And it's why when they revealed the women's title design at WrestleMania 32, I looked at them like, what is that? It's just... And of course, when they put like the white stripe on it, it's just like, you look at it and you think, okay, so now we're copying the Intercontinental title. It's like, no. It's like, go back to the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era respectively. Look at those belts. Look at what made them stand out. Look what differentiated themselves from one another. And like Raiden, completely agree, one of the best looking WWE Championship designs they ever had was the Undisputed belt in 2002, because that, to me, that is how you make a modern world title belt. And it annoys me that belt was only in circulation for 3 years before, the spinner belt became the norm. And I thought the spinner belt at the time was just a John Cena thing. Like, whenever Austin was champion during his face run, he'd have the Smoking Skull belt whilst he was champion. And fun fact, Stone Cold never told management he was bringing that belt to TV. So when you saw Vince with the look of shock on his face, he wasn't acting. Just like this one clip that surfaces every now and again. It's like, it's not about what you want, it's what I want. And I put in the comments, folks, he's not lying here. This is him predicting the future. But thankfully, he's not in charge of creative. For now. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for that day when you hear, no chance, I'm taking control again. Michael Cole, you'll do what I tell you, and for the first time in near 20 years, we're gonna have a broad patties match. Like, shh, nope.
No, we're not.
It's like me and Raiden have said so many times before. Late 90s, early 2000s version, I was like, yeah. 2020s version was like, Vinny, there's this website that you can go to that fulfills your needs. What, bigmuscularman.com?
Okay, to each their own, man, but dude, no.
And we're like, you're an idiot. No. Here's the thing, folks. If that's what you're into, great. But, if you want to see two women go at it in a different way, well, you can Google it and find out for yourself. We're not saying it on here because discretion.
Categories on a certain website, mumble.
Yes. And here's the thing. You could even see wrestlers like Trish, Lita, Molly Holly especially, back in the day, because even during the Ruthless Aggression era, she was really trying to push legitimate cases for women's wrestling. And even when Lita and Trish were in a bra and panties match for the women's title on an episode of Raw, I think September, October of 2000, you get Ivory joining the Right to Censor, and at that point, they weren't really doing anything with Ivory, and I suppose in a weird way that was kind of reflecting some of her personality on screen as well. I don't know. Although, I will say, to this day, Ivory, you really needed to trim down your Hall of Fame acceptance speech. I mean, comparing it to a wedding? Alright.
Try telling Chris Judge that during the Video Game Awards.
Oh dear.
He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But, there's got to be a give in WWE with regards to the creativity. And this is something that Austin said years ago on his podcast. What WWE really needs to do to move forward is place importance back on those championship belts, because he said it himself. It was either on an episode of Raw or during an interview. If you're not here to be world champion, you've got no business being here. And I absolutely agree with that 110%, which is why I get with the Rock Cena matches at both WrestleMania 28 and 29 respectively. Yeah, there was personal issues to iron out. But the WWE title at WrestleMania 29 was almost playing second fiddle to it. And I'm like, hang on. This is the WWE title. One of the most prestigious...
You mean 28?
Yeah, sorry. Because at 29, it was Rock Cena 2. And because the first match was just about the two going at it, and just, because of real life issues. And then 29 was for the belt. The belt was playing second fiddle. I'm like, hang on a minute. This is one of your most important championships in the company, and you're treating it like an afterthought. So, I feel like what they should do is look at WrestleMania 14 and 15, respectively, just for inspiration. Yes, it was about, Austin defying the original authority, which was the corporation at the time. But it was, for Stone Cold, it was always about getting the belt back, the belt that meant the one thing that meant more to him in life. And notice I say thing, because people are more important than things. But at the time, that belt meant more to him. And of course, as we all know, during Mania 15, he was going through a divorce at the time. So winning the belt back was a very nice and pleasant distraction for him. And he says he doesn't remember that match because he remembers he passed out in the locker room, but it took his mind off of things at the time. And notice McMahon's motivation during that match was to stop Austin from becoming champion again, and in doing so, the belt's status was elevated. The belt, over probably, I want to say, probably not since WrestleMania 18, because Triple H's shtick was getting back to the top of the mountain after tearing his quad the year before, was him getting to the top of the mountain, and it placed importance on the belt. But year after year after year, it's about, oh, let's put this personal issue. It's like, just make the belt the story. That's what they're there for. They're not there for the petty, backstabbing, backstage BS that you try to market to people. Make the belt the focus, the story. Make it what they're longing for. Because what you're doing, I mean, Cody, to his credit, he's actually placing importance onto the undisputed title going into his match with Roman, because this is the one belt that Goldust and Dusty Rhodes never won in WWE. This is the one belt that the Rhodes family would have loved to have gotten. And he's trying, like I say, to place importance onto that belt, because Cody is old school in a new school generation, and I absolutely love that. And I have to give him full props, even though he was really, really hurting in his match with Seth Rollins at Hell in a Cell, he still went. And I'm like, it's like, bring up Stardust after that match. I dare you.
Mm-hmm.
And when all the promos started surfacing of him training for the Rebels, like, he's winning. When you put that much...
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, when you put that much emphasis and promotion on somebody when they're coming back, it's like, yeah, he's winning.
Yeah, usually when you declare yourself for the Royal Rumble, it's either A, you're winning, or you're completely not winning the Rumble. And since they were putting so much emphasis on those in those promos, it's like, okay, yeah, he's a sure win. What number he was gonna coming in as was a good question.
The only time
It was either gonna be in the middle, or it was gonna be number 30, and he came out at number 30 like he should have.
The only times I've noticed where they've not hyped up a wrestler and they come in and win, Taker in 2007, because he came in at number 30 and nobody really saw... No, well, obviously, yes, they did see him winning because he did win the damn thing, but they didn't see the same sort of emphasis placed on him from the likes of Sheamus winning in 2012, or whenever Stone Cold won his respective Rumbles from 98, 99 to 2001. Edge in 2010, nobody heard of him returning that night. So for that one, that's a curveball, because again, nobody saw him. No one predicted him winning and returning and winning that night. So with Cody coming in when he did, it's like, yeah, this makes total sense. And quite honest with you, I'm surprised it didn't happen years before, but timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, with regards to the match at Mania, it depends on how the story is built. over the next, I think it's the next 6 weeks before WrestleMania 39. So I don't know. I don't know how they'll go about doing this one, because they've got to build this in a particularly special way, because from the word on the wire that's going around is that Roman might, and I stress might, be going part-time after this, because he got his moment. And I think it's kind of good that you get someone like Cody to take the belt off of him, because this is kind of reminds me of the situation between CM Punk and The Rock. If it had been, say, someone like Dolph Ziggler to dethrone CM Punk, how much it would have elevated Ziggler's stock, but it also would have done the world of good for Punk. But and as much as I am a Rock fan, all these years later, Rock was the wrong person to take the belt off of Punk after all that time. Because that match, Rock was gassed as hell.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, full kudos to Punk, say what you will about him these days, but he carried Rock. And he, you know, I remember him talking about in his Art of Wrestling interview with Colt Cabana. He said, "Why don't we do a thing where I keep the title? Then it becomes a triple threat between me, Rock, and Cena. Or let me keep the title. I'll wrestle Taker." We counted like it would have been day 500. Imagine how that would have been for Taker if he had beaten Punk and Punk was champion. That would have been, at that point, that would have been Taker's first world title in 3 years. And his first WWE title in over a decade. But Vinny's like, "No, we want Rock versus Cena too." No.
Asked for this.
The first time, okay. You know, we were genuinely curious, and it's like, oh, this match stole the night. It did? I would have said the two matches that were better by comparison. I have my issues with Taker Triple H 3 from Hell in a Cell, but story-wise, it was better than Rock versus Cena. Match-wise, yeah, I don't know. The match to me that stole the show that night was CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE title, because it was an actual wrestling match, and that's what the
and it was actually built well.
Exactly. And of all things, CM Punk inadvertently invented the meme of Jericho invents everything. It's like, did you?
Honestly, that was like the sequel to Jericho's 100 something moves in WCW. So
Oh yeah. I like the one meme. It's like, I invented everything. I invented Canadians, Justin Bieber. Even me? I was drunk. Here's the thing with Bieber. I think as he's gotten older, I think he has mellowed out a little bit. I mean, I enjoyed Peaches as one of his more modern tracks. I'm not a fan of his earlier work because it's not for me. But Peaches, I'm like, okay, I can vibe to this. This is cool. But yeah, as you say, Punk Jericho, that was built so well for Mania 28, and of course, Johnny Ace says, "Oh, if you get disqualified, Jericho instantly becomes champion." It's just like, appreciate its story, but I appreciate its story, but Johnny Ace, your hate boner is showing. Please stop that. And even though it's been like 11 years on, I'm so glad they did away with his character, because I'm sorry, but how did they think that was creative TV? Week after week, it's like, my name is John Laurinaitis, the Executive Vice President of Talent for WWE. It's like, we don't care.
Yeah, and the inside he was not, and also in backstage he was not well liked. So. Also, if you're thinking about Laurinaitis, first things first, rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. But I remember there a promo that the Briscoes did called Cosmetically Pleasing. They had a trial match. Thought everything was going good. Thought it was like their life. But John Laurinaitis stopped that because they weren't cosmetically pleasing. And you see these two, you know, the way they look, both from Sandy Fork, Delaware. But God jams and they wrestled their asses off. So
Yeah.
you know that's also we all know like Vince and Laurinaitis were tight, but
Yes.
unfortunately for Laurinaitis, we all know what happened to him. So screw him. But yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
Even Jim Ross called them out on the BS too. Because remember, before Johnny Ace, it was JR that was part of Talent Relations, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't got Stone Cold.
Nope.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know about the famous Cornette, him going off on Lauren Eisman again. Who does Cornette not gone off on?
Yeah.
And that was where the legendary thing of "Thank you, fuck you, bye, boom" came from. I will say though, I appreciate it's just his opinion, but Cornette, what you said about Becky Lynch when she had maternity leave, my dude, not cool.
Nah.
I don't know. We're going to move on to another topic now because I think we've universally said what we needed to now about the brand split and the varying other degrees of whether it should remain now.